Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Derek Coffey, and I'm the founder of FWP. And if we're being completely honest, most pre-retirees would love to retire at 62. Most of them would love to retire even sooner than that. But for most people, that first checkpoint where retirement really becomes a reality is 62. And the reason this is because of Social Security. Now, for some pre-retirees, they don't want to retire completely. They still love what they do. It still gives them that sense of purpose, but they would like to claim back some of their time. They may look at their investment accounts and say, well, I really don't have enough to call it quits, but that may not be entirely true. One way that you can go about phasing yourself into retirement is filing for your Social Security benefit early. Despite what you hear in the news about waiting as long as you possibly can to get the biggest check that you possibly can, there are advantages to filing for your benefit as soon as you can possibly get it. One of those big advantages is being able to phase your way into retirement. In today's video, we're breaking down how a phased retirement works and how you can use part-time work in addition to filing for your benefit at age 62 and begin living the life that you've worked so hard for. Stay tuned. So the first thing we want to understand is, why is there even a debate about filing for your benefit at 62, waiting until 67, or even waiting all the way until age 70? The reason this debate exists is because of the amount of money that you're going to receive based on the age at which you file for your benefit. If you look at your Social Security statement, there's going to be a number on there, and that number is what you would be eligible for if you waited until your full retirement age. If you were born in 1960 or later, your full retirement age is 67. So whatever that number is, if you wait until age 67, that is what you're going to receive as your Social Security benefit. Now, you have options. You could pull your benefit as soon as age 62. That's the whole point of this video. You could also wait until age 70 and receive the maximum amount of money that Social Security is willing to pay you. The timing in which you file for your benefit is going to affect the payment you receive. So let's say, for instance, at age 67, you're eligible for $2,000 a month. If you wait until 67, you get the $2,000. If you wait until age 70, then you're going to receive an 8% increase in that benefit amount for each year that you wait. So in total, your benefit increase because of those delayed credits is 124%. So if you are eligible for $2,000 at age 67, your benefit at age 70 is going to be $2,480. That's a significant difference, but you're giving up time. You're giving up that guaranteed income. Now, if we go the other direction, where you decide to file for your benefit at age 62, then you're going to receive a 30% reduction from your full retirement age benefit. So again, if we assume the $2,000 a month at full retirement age, we reduce it by the 30% because you filed at 62, your monthly benefit is now $1,400 a month. There's an over $1,000 gap between age 62 and waiting until age 70. But what you have to keep in mind is that you're giving up that guaranteed income for 8 years and relying on your investments to make up that difference just to get that higher benefit payment. If you're looking to claim back some of that time, especially in those early 60s when you're still physically able to do just about anything you want to do, then filing for your benefit at age 62 could be that key. So when does it make sense for you to file for your benefit at age 62? Well, if you're looking to retire early or use this phased retirement approach, then turning that income on as soon as you possibly can is going to make a lot of sense. And there are a couple of reasons for this. The first of which is it takes the stress off your invested accounts to produce the income that you need. For most people that are considering this phased retirement, they probably don't feel comfortable with the amount of money that they have saved. They probably don't have enough money saved to get them through a 25 or even 30-year retirement. So by turning your Social Security benefit on early, it takes the stress off of those investment accounts to produce the income that you need. Now, the second advantage to turning your benefit on early is it allows you to coordinate your benefits with your spouse if you're married. So if you're married and both of you are just itching to get your hands on your Social Security benefit, this will allow one of you to pull your benefit at 62. That way you can get some of that income coming in. Again, we're still accomplishing the same task. We're taking stress off your investment accounts, at least by the amount of money you're going to receive, but it does allow the spouse's benefit to continue to grow until full retirement age or even age 70. So if you're married, if you file for your benefit early, you can actually make your retirement plan work a little bit better. But if you're more focused on retiring early or doing this phased retirement, getting that income coming in is going to take a lot of stress off of you and your investments. Let me explain. So let's assume that we have an individual. Her name is Carla. She's 62 years old, and she's been working for the last 40 years of her life. She's ready to slow down. She's ready to step back a bit, but she's not quite ready to retire fully. She still enjoys going to work. She enjoys the purpose and interacting with her coworkers. But also, she doesn't have a whole lot of money saved that's going to get her through a 25 or 30-year retirement. That's where this phased retirement comes into play and filing for that Social Security benefit early. So if we assume that Carla has $200,000 saved, that's really good. That's nothing to sneeze at. It took a lot of work to get there, but it's just not enough to get her through the next 25 or 30 years of her life. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to look at her Social Security benefit to see if we can take some of the pressure off of those invested accounts to create the income she needs. Now, if we assume that Carla needs $3,000 a month to live, we're assuming her house is paid off, she has no credit card debt, her cars are all paid off, there's no debt that she has to worry about. $3,000 is a relatively reasonable number, at least in the area that I live. Now, depending on where you live, $3,000 may be way under. You may need $5,000 a month. If that's the case, then you're going to need a lot more money saved. But where I live, I'm surprised at the amount of retirees who are able to make do on $25,000 or even $3,000 a month. So we're going to go with that $3,000 a month number for Carla. Now, if we assume that her full retirement age benefit from Social Security is $2,200 a month, and she wants to file for it at age 62, then her monthly benefit amount is going to be $1,540. Now, if we subtract that from the $3,000 that she needs, that leaves us a shortfall of $1,460 per month. Now, we could pull from her investment accounts, but we're going to empty that account fairly quickly. So the thing that's working in our favor is that she's okay with continuing to work. Now, she could stay where she is and move down to a part-time role, or she could just leave completely and go do something that she's more passionate about. But when it comes to part-time work, when you're receiving your Social Security benefit before your full retirement age, you have to be mindful of how much money you're making. Each year, the Social Security Administration puts out the earnings limit for that year. In 2025, that earnings limit is $23,400. So what we would want to do is make sure that whatever part-time work that Carla takes on is less than that $23,400. And the reason this is because if she earns more than that, then her benefit is going to be reduced by $1 for every $2 she makes over that limit. So to keep her under that limit and not have to worry about her benefit being reduced, we're going to assume that she finds something that gives her $20,000 a year for her time. We divide that by 12, that gives us a monthly income amount of $1,667. If we add that to the $1,540 that she's receiving from Social Security, all of a sudden she has a $207 a month surplus to enjoy her time. All of her bills are covered. She has extra time because she's only working on a part-time basis, and she's able to reduce the amount of stress she's feeling from her job. This is what a phased retirement can look like. By coordinating your Social Security benefit and potential part-time work, you can put yourself in a position that you can step back. You can buy back your time. So to show you how this phased retirement plan can work, we're going to look at it by the numbers. So in year one of Carla's retirement, she's going to receive $18,480 from Social Security. Now, if we add to that the $20,000 that she's receiving from her part-time work, her total annual income is going to be $38,480. Assuming the $3,000 a month that she needs to pay all of her bills, that's going to give her a almost $2,500 surplus for the year. Now, we're also going to assume that we have that $200,000 invested, and we're hoping that our average rate of return is roughly 7%. So what we're going to notice is that over the next 5 years, we're going to assume that she's going to work until age 67. We're going to let that account grow and not pull any of the income out of it. This is going to be a very vital piece later on. In year 2, we're going to assume that her benefit increases by 2.5%. That's been the historical average for Social Security. We'll see what happens going forward. But her benefit increases to almost $19,000. We're going to assume she gets the same increase for her part-time work. Again, we're remaining under that earnings limit set by the Social Security Administration, and she still has a $2,470 surplus. The reason that is because I'm increasing expenses at 2.7%. Now, you could use 3% if you want to. 2.7% has been more accurate over the last 30 or so years. But with inflation being the way that it is, again, that is kind of up in the air. But we can only work with historical data, unfortunately. So we continue this process over the next 5 years. Ultimately, when she turns 67, she's going to have $20,400 coming from Social Security. That part-time job's paying her just over $22,000. And she's still getting about $200 a month extra when it's all said and done. Now, what we really want to pay attention to is what her investment account has grown to. If she's able to maintain that 7% average rate of return, then she's going to have $262,000 saved in her account by the time she stops working completely. Once she's fully into retirement and she's no longer getting the part-time income, she's actually enjoying 100% of her time, she has an additional $62,000 to work with. What we're going to do with that $262,000 is we're going to use it to plug that income gap that the part-time work was plugging. In that first full year of her retirement, where she's 100% free of work, she's going to receive about $21,000 of Social Security income. Now, what we have to figure out is how much needs to come from her investments to fill that shortfall. As we've been increasing that $3,000 a month, her total income need in year 6 of her retirement is $41,129. So the difference between that and her Social Security benefit, we're going to pull out of her investment accounts. It's just over $20,000. Now, that is a very steep withdrawal rate, but if we're able to maintain that average 7% rate of return, it's going to make this plan work for an extended period of time. So we pull the $20,000 to $21,000, the account grows at 7%. We've lost effectively $2,000 in our invested account for that year. Now, if we repeat this process, assuming all of the same inflation rates, assuming the same growth rates in the investment accounts, we're actually able to fund her retirement for the next 25 years. In year 25, she's getting $33,425 from Social Security. She's pulling $34,807 from her investment accounts, and at the end of that year, she has $6,500 left. This is not ideal by any means. In the most ideal situation, she at least has the $200,000 she started with. But because of the way she wanted to phase into her retirement, this is what happens. But we've taken her from age 62 all the way to age 87, and she hasn't run out of money yet. This is how filing for your benefit early can make sense. This is how this phased retirement works if you turn that Social Security benefit on as soon as you possibly can. So now you may be thinking to yourself, well, Derek, what if she lives past 87 and now she's run out of money? And this is a very valid argument. I do not have a response to that. I don't have a way to solve that problem outside of her working longer. Now, the problem with that is she doesn't want to continue working at that full-time clip. She wants to buy back some of her time. She wants to enjoy her 60s because, in all honesty, that's really the last decade for most people where you have really good functionality when it comes to your body. You're able to go do things and spend time with family, enjoy your hobbies, etc. So by using this phased retirement plan and pulling that benefit at 62, we've maximized Carla's life. And that's what's most important. This is the problem with following the one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to filing for Social Security. A lot of these experts are going to tell you that you need to wait until 67 or age 70 to pull your benefit. And in some instances, that is 100% true. If you do plan on living well into your 80s or even into your early 90s because you have a family history of longevity and you're in good health, then waiting to pull your benefit is going to make the most sense. But if you don't have that history of longevity and you want to begin enjoying your time as much as you possibly can, then pull your benefit early. Now, you have to weigh out the options based on your own situation, but do not follow the one-size-fits-all approach. Now, to show you why the one-size-fits-all approach doesn't work, I'm going to break it down for you by the numbers. So if we assume that we have Carla, she has the $2,200 a month as her full retirement age benefit. She gets those 2.5% increases each year as a cost of living adjustment, like we went over in the example. If she files for her benefit at age 62, she's going to receive $18,480 in that first year. Just like our Excel spreadsheet showed us earlier, she's going to get those increases, and these are the amounts she's going to receive from Social Security. Now, what you see in column D is the cumulative amount of money that she has received from Social Security. Everything that you see in green means that she is ahead of waiting until 67 and age 70. At age 79, she's still ahead of waiting until 67, but she has now fallen behind the cumulative amount of income she would have received had she waited until age 70. And then once we get to age 80, that's when she falls behind waiting until her full retirement age. Now, what we want to keep in mind is the average life expectancy of a U.S. citizen is somewhere between 77 and 80 years old. So for Carla, being an average individual, we can expect for her to live until 80. Because she's a female, she's probably going to live a little bit longer. So she makes it to age 80. She has effectively lost $30,000 of income over the course of that retirement. Over the course of an 18-year retirement, she gave up $1,000 a year in Social Security on average by pulling her benefit early. But by pulling that benefit early, she was able to step away from work. She was able to scale it back to a more manageable amount of time and enjoy the time that she had while she was still able to enjoy it. And that's the point of using Social Security intelligently to make your retirement what you want it to be. Do not follow a one-size-fits-all approach. Look at your situation, look at what you have saved, and run the numbers. That way you can live the retirement that you have worked so hard for. Now, please keep in mind, I'm not advocating for everyone to file for their benefit at 62. There are certainly instances where you should push it off as long as you possibly can. But if you're tired of that 9-to-5 grind, you're in a position where it numerically makes sense for you to scale back your work and start taking your benefit at 62, then by all means do so. You have to ask yourself the question, am I looking to maximize my benefit amount or am I looking to maximize my retirement life? You only have so many years left, especially if you retire in your 60s. So you may as well turn that income on and enjoy those years as much as you possibly can if it fits your plan. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. If this video or any of the other videos that I've put out has provided you value, then hit that subscribe button. If you filed for your benefit at 62 and you're glad that you did, then leave a comment on the video. Let people know about it. If you filed for 62 and it ended up being a mistake, then leave that comment as well. That way people know about it from the other side. But I thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll talk to you soon.